topic of this debate is that we should unfriend Facebook. The affirmative team seated to my right is St. John's Grammar School. The negative team seated to my left is from Adelaide High School. The speaking time for this debate is 8 minutes. The single warning bell will sound 1 minute before the speaking time. And a double bell will sound at the speaking time. A continuous bell may be rung 30 seconds after the speaking time, in which case the speaker must sit down immediately. Please ensure that your mobile phones and other electronic devices are switched off. I declare this debate open and call upon the first affirmative speaker, Ben Ransom.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ben Ransom and I'm the first speaker for the affirmative team. The topic for our debate tonight is that we should unfriend Facebook, and we as the affirmative team strongly support this claim. We'd like to provide definitions for the key terms in this topic. We define we as the general populace of Facebook users. We define unfriend to be replace or remove from our lives. And we define Facebook as a publicly listed social media web service created by Mark Zuckerberg in 2004. This specifically denotes the app Facebook and not the company, which owns several social media websites. As first speaker for tonight, I'll be confirming that we should unfriend Facebook by highlighting the historical abuse of Facebook's power and discussing the dubious practices of Mark Zuckerberg. Our second speaker, Alex Matters, will discuss the Cambridge Analytica scandal and the mental health issues commonly associated with Facebook. Our third speaker, Katie Aitken, will then rebut and summarise our team's arguments. Now to my first point, that we should unfriend Facebook because it has always abused its level of power. Facebook was originally started as a small social media platform, but since then it has emerged as a social media giant with great levels of control. Its current value is approximately $510 billion, according to BBC News. Facebook is also the #1 most commonly used social media service worldwide, with approximately 2.23 billion users active monthly. This level of control has certainly gone to the heads of Mark Zuckerberg and the board of directors at Facebook, who have exploited their power for their own benefit. Germany's Federal Cartel Office have reported that Facebook is abusing its position to force its users to give up data. In addition to the profile information that users willingly hand over to Facebook, the social network also collects information such as browsing history from third-party websites and other services that it owns. The Federal Cartel Office reported that this is a clear breach of data protection rules. They said, and I quote, "The authority holds the view that Facebook is abusing this dominant position by making the use of its social network conditional on it being allowed to limitedly amass every kind of data generated by using third-party websites and merging it with the user's Facebook account. Facebook users are oblivious as to which data from which sources are being merged to develop a detailed profile of them and their online activities." Christopher Wiley, a Canadian data analytics specialist who created Facebook's system, has decided to speak out against his own company. He told London's Observer, "We exploited Facebook to harvest millions of people's profiles and built models to exploit what we knew about them and target their inner demons." This is very distressing for users, knowing that Facebook is collecting information on them, but not knowing where from or how to stop it. This is why Facebook needs to be unfriended. Furthermore, Facebook has already used their powerful position to control the type of news that viewers are subjected to. The Washington Post states that in late 2016, Norwegian author Tom Edgeland uploaded to Facebook a famous photograph taken by Nick Yut, which depicts 9-year-old Kim Phuc running from toxic napalm with her skin burning and her clothes burnt away. A photograph which truly defines the horrors of the Vietnam War. However, when this photo was uploaded to Facebook, it was taken down as a violation of the site's nudity policy, along with Edgeland's account being suspended for 24 hours. After initially defending its decision to remove the photograph, Facebook recognised its status as an iconic image of historical importance and decided to reinstate it. In this case, Facebook were lucky enough to recover, but not without showing their true colours first. Being able to strip the value from a historically renowned war photograph demonstrates that Facebook cannot be trusted with this amount of power. The carelessness and negligence expressed by the company is overwhelming and simply cannot be overlooked, hence why they should be unfriended. Aside from censoring out educational news, Facebook are also guilty of promoting fake news. According to BBC News, Facebook have already been a massive exploiter of fake news, deliberately giving users false information to sway the way that they think. It was alleged that Russia used Facebook tools to influence voters with diverse and false news posts before and after the 2016 US presidential election. Facebook has essentially become a very powerful weapon, one which in our current political climate has the potential to become very dangerous. My second point is that we should unfriend Facebook because its CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, cannot be trusted due to his many dubious practices. Mark Zuckerberg is a good man in many respects. However, he is not the type of man who should be trusted with billions of people's personal data. Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana confronted Zuckerberg about the transparency of his company's policies during a joint hearing of the Senate Judiciary and Commerce Committees in April this year. Kennedy said, "The purpose of your user agreements is to cover Facebook's rear end, not inform users of their rights." At this, Zuckerberg appeared momentarily amused, but the comment hits at an issue central to Facebook's data scandal: transparency. Kennedy, along with many others, believes that Zuckerberg is taking advantage of the user agreement, as many users do not actually read the whole thing. Yes, it is our decision as Facebook users to read this agreement, but Zuckerberg still maintains a high degree of responsibility in this matter, and simply dismissing this because he assumes that many users do not read the agreement is not acceptable. I'd like to now bring your attention to a messenger conversation between Zuckerberg and his friend in 2004. The conversation was short and started with Zuckerberg boasting about how people had handed over their personal information to him, to which his friend asked how he'd managed to get them to do this. His reply was this: "People just submitted it. I don't know why. They trust me. Dumb fricks." Except he didn't say fricks. This is coming from the man who now has access to the personal information of 2.23 billion people worldwide. How safe do you feel now? In addition, I would also like to introduce you to FaceMash, a website created by Zuckerberg when he was a student at Harvard. When questioned by Congressman Billy Long during the House Energy and Commerce Committee hearing, Zuckerberg admitted that the premise of the site was to let users on campus compare images of two women and then vote on which one was more attractive. Zuckerberg maintains that this site is no longer active, but what about his unethical behaviour? Taking down a site is easy enough, but changing one's own behaviour isn't as simple. This man admitted to publicly objectifying women, and he is now one of the most powerful men in one of the most influential companies. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, Facebook needs to be unfriended because it has constantly demonstrated negligence over its user security. It has exploited harmful fake news, and it tolerates a strong influence from its very dubious CEO. Thank you.
I just switched on the switches on the level. I don't think I've got control of the air conditioner, I'm afraid. Can't see any of the switches.
call upon the first negative speaker, Alana Sangu.
Facebook is a network of apps on steroids. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an event calendar, a contact book, it's a photo album, it's a texting, video calling, money transferring social network that makes millions of dollars every day. With over 2 billion users worldwide, to say it's useful is an understatement. It's now integral to daily life. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. As you are aware, the topic for our debate tonight is that we should unfriend Facebook. And as a native team, we strongly disagree with this statement. Tonight I'll be discussing the vital contribution Facebook has made to revolutionizing the way business is conducted, and how this has provided many benefits and opportunities for thousands of businesses across the globe. I'll then be discussing the social and personal benefits gained from using Facebook. Our second speaker, Kartik, will be introducing our team's counter model that Facebook should be better regulated, and our focus should be on educating and increasing the understanding of Facebook users. Finally, our third speaker, Miles, will rebut on some of our team's case. Before I begin, I would like to rebut the points put forth by the first affirmative speaker. He discussed the issue of sharing users' private data. But people opt in to share data, so rather than unfriend Facebook, we should educate people to have a better understanding of what they're agreeing to online. I will now discuss my first point, the benefits for businesses. Facebook is a low-cost marketing strategy. Marketing activities that will cost thousands of dollars through other channels can be used on Facebook for a fraction of the cost. This makes it ideal for small to medium businesses with a limited marketing budget. It is also useful for larger businesses that can trial marketing concepts and things through Facebook before committing to big campaigns. Facebook allows you to share basic information about your business. It's a place where you can publicize your business name, address, and contact details, and briefly describe your products and services. You can also talk about your staff, history, or other aspects of your business that is likely to attract Facebook users and create interest in what you do. As well as allowing you to post text, Facebook allows you to upload pictures and videos from your business. This can be a powerful way to communicate with customers and potential customers, allowing them to see your product or service without having to visit your premises. Facebook can also analyze all the information that millions of users enter into their profiles. As the owner of a business page, you can pay to use this information to deliver targeted advertising to a specific group. For example, an outdoor store could use Facebook to calculate how many men over a certain age in a certain city have listed fishing as an interest. They could develop an ad for new fishing lures and pay for it to appear on the pages of those people. I'll now discuss the social and personal benefits of Facebook. Professors from the Department of Psychology at Rutgers University found that the primary drivers of Facebook were belongingness and self-presentation. The study showed that updating one's Facebook status has been found to reduce loneliness by increasing users' daily social connectedness. There's also evidence from Oxford Handbook of Internet Psychology that some personality traits associated with internet use, and in particular Facebook, include need for closure, need for cognition, sensation seeking, and risk taking. Such studies seem to indicate that Facebooking can provide social psychological benefits for users' social relationships and psychological well-being. According to a study conducted by the University of Melbourne, Facebook can help people who suffer from anxiety and those who feel socially disconnected. Senior lecturer in psychology, Dr. Peggy Kern, told ABC TV that she learned from over 70 studies into the subject and her own research that social media can have some mental health benefits. She stated that for some people it was very beneficial. People reported feeling socially connected to others. There was an interesting finding that those with social anxiety actually seem to benefit from being able to connect in a way that is less anxiety-provoking. Facebooking can also help extroverted users maintain, reinforce, and expand their pre-existing social relationships, which in turn may increase the perceived social support and psychological well-being. So, in conclusion, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, to move forward in society, we must not move away from Facebook, but instead we must embrace the benefits it brings. How? By not unfriending Facebook. Thank you.
I call upon the second affirmative speaker, Alex Mathis.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Chairman, Timekeeper. My name is Alex Mathers, and I am the second speaker for the affirmative team in tonight's debate. The topic for this debate is that we should unfriend Facebook. We in the affirmative team do believe this statement to be unequivocally true. Before I begin with my points, I would like to point out flaws within the opposition's argument. To begin with, the first speaker claimed that Facebook is a useful site for advertisement and company communication with their audiences. Now, while this may be true, the shady practices and manner in which the company targets their advertising, as Ben explained, and as I shall explain later, makes the company unethical, and as a consequence we should unfriend them. Furthermore, they stated that updating one's status reduces loneliness and social exclusion. Now, this is false, as I shall detail. Facebook is designed to give hits of dopamine to those posting. Facebook is, to quote one former Facebook vice president, a self-validating, dopamine-driven feedback loop, and as a consequence, we should unfriend Facebook. But now to what I shall be speaking on. I shall begin with the Cambridge Analytica scandal and the egregious breach of privacy that occurred. I shall then move on to the mental and psychological issues and the damage done to society by Facebook. And so to my first point, detailing the Cambridge Analytica scandal and the egregious breach of privacy that occurred at Facebook. Facebook is a site that collects and stores hundreds of millions of people's personal information. It is a site that, through users' activities, can determine very significant aspects of an individual. According to CNBC, Facebook is able to determine what a user is most likely to interact with, their location, their political leanings, and their social circles. TechCrunch.com goes on to detail that Facebook has been found with metadata pertaining to people's individual private calls and SMS. It knows who you're contacting and how much. Now, while this in itself is a reason we should unfriend Facebook, it is also a fact that leaves Facebook with an enormous duty of care and a responsibility to act ethically and respectfully with this information. However, this was not to be the case. Ben has already detailed many of the blemishes on Facebook's history, but I shall delve into one of their most moralistically bankrupt series of events, the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Cambridge Analytica is an election consultancy firm based in the UK. It's a company that deals in data mining, brokerage, and analysis. Consequently, Facebook is an absolute goldmine for Cambridge Analytica, waiting to be exploited and used to influence elections. Back in 2014, a Cambridge University academic called Alexander Kogan, in association with Cambridge Analytica, produced an app called This Is Your Digital Life. Users were paid and agreed to take a personality site on this test to have their data collected for academic use. However, this app also collected the information and data of all participants' Facebook friends, without these friends' consent. This was a consequence of Facebook's platform policy. This policy allowed for the collection of friends' data to improve users' experience. As a result, Cambridge Analytica was able to take information of over 87 million Americans. Now, the extent of this data breach was made aware to Facebook in 2015, and this is proven by a statement from Facebook's Chief Operating Officer, Sheryl Sandberg. However, Facebook, showing clear disregard for its user base, failed to alert its users and took very limited steps to recover and secure this private information. They simply asked Cambridge Analytica for it to be deleted. They took no steps to confirm it was deleted and did not conduct an audit. This course of action was stated by Sheryl, the Chief Operating Officer. And remember, this is 87 million users' private information, not something to be taken lightly. Cambridge Analytica was then able to, before the 2016 US presidential election, to produce personal profiles for these users, and subsequently, during the campaign, they would flood these users with highly targeted political ads. Firstly, this event raises concerns as to the integrity of the 2016 US presidential election, but it also raises serious questions as to Facebook's ethics and standards. It is clear Facebook is not entirely committed to the protection and privacy of its user base, as its policies allowed this breach to occur, and it was clearly hardly bothered when it learned of the breach. Facebook is untrustworthy and cannot protect users' privacy. And now to my second point, which covers Facebook's many negative impacts on users' psychological well-being, as well as its harmful impact on our society. Since its creation, Facebook has been a site that has laid claim to slogans including "Facebook is a social utility that connects you with the people around you," and "Be connected, be discovered, be on Facebook." The site also makes constant references to terms such as community. In fact, Facebook claims to have a help community for technical issues with the site. Now, despite these best efforts to portray Facebook as a place that assists in social cohesion and activity, a large chorus of academics, as well as former Facebook presidents and vice presidents, have detailed the many negative aspects of Facebook. To begin with, the ex-Facebook president, Sean Parker, stated that Facebook's founders knew they were creating something addictive that exploited a vulnerability in human psychology from the outset. He went on, "It literally changes your relationship with society, with each other. It interferes with productivity in weird ways. God only knows what it's doing to our children's brains." Sean then went on to the original objective of Facebook during its development. This was, how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible? This led to features such as the like button, which gave users a little dopamine hit, which encouraged them to upload more content. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics has warned of the negative effects of Facebook, including cyberbullying and Facebook depression. Another study reported by Forbes states that Facebook use is linked to both less moment-to-moment happiness and less life satisfaction. Chamath Palihapitiya is a former vice president for user growth at Facebook. He echoed Sean Parker's comments by stating, "The short-term, dopamine-driven feedback loops that we have created are destroying how society works. No civil discourse, no cooperation, misinformation, mistruth." Now, there was a report conducted by Facebook themselves. This report conceded that there were mental health issues associated with the site. However, they indicated that if their platform was to be consumed in smaller, controlled amounts, it would not have such an effect and would in fact be helpful. Now, we in the affirmative team do agree that there are many benefits to social media in terms of connection, and we do believe other social media platforms to be of great benefit. However, Facebook is not intended to, nor is it ever consumed in small, helpful amounts. I mentioned a quote earlier on how Facebook is designed to prey on human psychology, to become addictive. Well, in their first quarter results of 2016, Facebook announced that users were spending, on average, 50 minutes of their day on the site. Now, accounting for the average 8.8 hours of sleep, that means, 15 minutes. That means users are spending 1/16 of their waking hours on the site. To put this into perspective, eMarketer.com reports that in the same period, Instagram and Snapchat users spent on average 22 and 24 minutes on these apps respectively, and these are the next down. If the time spent on social media is the issue, it would appear that Facebook is the true propagator of mental health and societal issues. In conclusion, Facebook has shown that their ethical standards are low and that their protection of individuals and privacy is non-existent. Furthermore, Facebook has been shown to be addictive and cause social issues. Therefore, we should unfriend Facebook.
Call upon the second negative speaker, Karthik Wali.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The topic tonight, as told, is that we should unfriend Facebook, and as the second speaker of today's opposition, I strongly believe this statement to be false. Now, before I get started, let me just respond to some of the arguments placed by the proposition team. The proposition said that Facebook should be unfriended because Mark Zuckerberg assumed that people won't read the terms and conditions. Well, the thing is that it is our job, no matter what he assumes, to read the policy, decide on it, and accept or decline it. I can assume anything because there's no facts behind it. It's a perspective, it's an opinion on what you think the outcome's going to be, which still doesn't hide the responsibility that every user has for his or her own safety. The opposition also said that Facebook is designed to give you shots of dopamine because it's become so addictive. You see, we have to understand the purpose of Facebook. It wasn't designed to cause an addiction, it was designed to connect people. It became such an apparent addiction because of the people's mentality. You can't blame the business because the result was not what was initially designed, which will be further explained in my further argument. Alright, tonight I'll be expanding on the proposed counter model as mentioned by our first speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, our suggested model puts forward an environment where the people using applications, such as Facebook, are more educated and know more about the consequences when dealing with social media. To elaborate, the thing is, the proposition blames the application because it has access to very private data of ours, and that's not a good thing. The scandal where they were accused of using private information is a fact. I'm not denying it. That's not the point. But we cannot just exclude a $500 billion company because of such mistakes, because that's where our counter model comes in. We propose that Facebook should be more regulated than before. We should decrease its capability on storing such private information. The solution is to fix the app, not unfriend it. To elaborate my point, we need to understand the business model of Facebook. Facebook uses advertisements to not only gain money themselves, that's the main source, but to allow for small but efficient companies to receive high exposure to the general public. Now, the claims that Facebook listens to you, observes you on your every move, stalks you, they may be true. I'm not debating on that. However, have you ever wondered why it exactly does that? Why do you think Mark Zuckerberg is so stuffed to find information about your private life, your text messages? It's something called personalized advertising. Facebook is one of the most profound users of personalized advertising. And it does by monitoring the behavior of a certain individual. It monitors where you go, how you go, where you live, and how you behave. Now, the best bit about personalized advertising is it's a win-win situation. The application makes the money from the ad, and the ad ensures a higher chance of being successful because it presents information to a viewer who deems it more relevant, and who deems it more relevant to you and your own lifestyle. It's using that information for your own good. So the proposition team might say that it may be interfering with people's privacy, but it's not misusing the information. Rather, it's for the user's own good. We need to, let's say, remove this mentality that we have, oh, it's stalking me, and understand why it's doing what it's doing. Everyone's saying it's taking my private stuff. Why is it doing it? Because of personalized advertising. It's a win for the Facebook, it's a win for the ads that are being presented, and it's a win for us because that ad is relevant to us. It's not that we're going to ignore it. And with this mentality, we can understand why Facebook should not be unfriended. If the House still believes that we should unfriend Facebook on the basis that it interferes with the individual privacy, well then let's take a further step back. Did Facebook forcefully use this private information? Did Facebook access such private information by itself? No, ladies and gentlemen, no, it didn't. It's the individuals that provide Facebook access to it. It's the individuals that provide Facebook access to use it for personalized advertising. When someone makes an account, the moment they click the agreed terms and conditions, Facebook has the full right to do whatever it said it can do with your information. Now, you cannot, by any circumstance, blame the company for using your information when it asked for your permission and you actually gave them that permission. Now, the proposition might say, well, that's the reason we should unfriend it, because it takes your information and it's best if you don't agree to the terms and conditions. And that's, again, where our counter model takes place. Because we propose that Facebook is more heavily regulated than before. We propose that it doesn't interfere with such private data of daily users. Again, fixing it is better than unfriending it. It's such a big market, you can't just take it away. You'd rather find the solution to it and make sure that people that are using it still have a good time using it. Because, you know, our first speaker explained all the advantages of Facebook. You can't just cut that out because, oh, they're using my private information, which is also for your own good. And that's where a counter model comes, because, in fact, a report from the ABC says that Facebook is making drastic changes to improve its private data management policies. Now, they have reduced advertising on incorporated stuff, but they have improved advertising when it comes to more family-like stuff. They're improving by the minute, and quoted by the Facebook vice president after all the allegations that Facebook had, is that we need to enforce our policies and help people understand how Facebook works and the choices that they have over their data. As I speak, the company is making changes to its business model and improving its capability to regulate the information it has access to and limiting its boundaries as to what information it uses and what information that it deems that it's apparently private, so it's not going to use, reducing its use of private information of its users. You see, Facebook's goal is to maintain its current users and ensure that it stays a successful business. And it's doing that by fixing up its terms and conditions. They have the proposition have a problem because it's taking the private data. I agree to that. Our team agrees, yes, they stuffed up, it's true. But you can't just say, no, okay, you know what, we're going to unfriend them. We have to fix the issue, not just say that we're going to exclude them from our society. And Facebook's strategy of fixing the policies goes with our presented counter model, because like I said, you cannot just exclude a multinational company. The opposition team said that it's a $500 billion company. It's a multinational company. You can't just exclude it on the grounds of such mistakes, that it's actually of apparent mistakes, that it's using private information which is for your own good. Now, like I said, yeah, we acknowledge that Facebook did misuse the information, which led to the CEO being questioned, which resulted in this topic of the debate. This is a known fact, but Facebook itself is cleaning its own mess up. Why unfriend it? And while the company strives to make its business less creepy, as the public, we need to understand that we need to be more educated as a society in the field. And while Facebook improves its policy, the public needs to be more educated in understanding the consequences on using Facebook and social media in general. With this, I rest my case, but not my thoughts.
Call upon the third affirmative speaker, Katie Meaty.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, Sir Chair, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that we should unfriend Facebook. We, as the affirmative team, strongly believe this statement to be true. My name is Katie Aitken, and as third speaker today, I will be primarily rebutting accusations made by the affirmative team and identifying the flaws in their overall argument. I subsequently will be summarising our first speaker, Ben, and our second speaker, Alex's points, and the overall case for the affirmative team. Now to the rebuttal. The negative team has said we should not unfriend Facebook due to the economic benefits of businesses running ads. This is wrong because Facebook is not the sole social media site to run ads. Sites such as YouTube, Google AdWords, all run ads. Facebook was not created with the sole purpose for running ads, and these other social media platforms can serve this purpose in a safe way. The running of ads on Facebook is actually at a detriment to its users. And whilst businesses are gaining money from it, yes, small businesses, at what cost is it to the general public? Facebook take this information of users and target ads at them, manipulate them unknowingly. In the case of the Cambridge Analytica scandal, as our second speaker has spoken about, they specifically created political ads where users were unknowingly targeted based on their data and their friends' data. The negative team have also suggested a counter model. This method that people should be educated on all Facebook's problems will go away, and that Facebook has benefits in small doses. We, the affirmative team, do not dispute that if Facebook was used in small and controlled amounts, it wouldn't have as large of effects. However, and we also don't dispute that social media is a positive way of helping people that may have problems. But unfortunately, Facebook, the way it has been created, is addictive and dangerous in nature. Facebook from day one has been created to manipulate and get as much money as possible. Facebook themselves has even run a study showing that Facebook is better in safe and small doses. Yet, have they done anything about this? Do they stop people from using it for extended amounts of time? No, because they want us, the users, to use it and bully it and manipulate us into getting what they want. Speaker 1 also said that users agree to Facebook using their data. So we just need to educate them on what they are agreeing to. It isn't as simple as this. As our first speaker Ben said, the Federal Cartel Office in Germany reported that Facebook are using their third-party websites to limitlessly amass every kind of data generated by these websites and combine it with the user's Facebook account. This is not what users agree to. The Facebook users agreement is untrustworthy enough as it is, but certainly does not denote from the sharing of data from one service to another. Speaker 2 also said that it is our responsibility to read this user agreement, and that Mark Zuckerberg isn't right to assume that we don't read it. And we totally agree. It is our job to read this agreement, but Zuckerberg needs to exhibit some sort of method to ensure that we read it. Him just shrugging this off, that it's not good enough, and demonstrates his careless and recklessness as a social media creator. Furthermore, Zuckerberg has taken advantage of users who don't read the agreement, as pointed out by Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. This is completely unethical behaviour. The negative team have also said how we should not unfriend Facebook because it allows us to stay in touch. The average American uses Facebook for around 50 minutes a day. That's a long time. And with the next social media platforms being used, 25 minutes a day for Instagram and 22 for Snapchat. This is quite a large difference. There are several social media platforms, as just mentioned, that connect users in the same, if not better way, that don't require or conduct the same dubious practices and procedures as Facebook. Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, to name a few, serve the same purpose. Facebook employs these techniques and relies on the impressionable to suck them in to using Facebook as this is their business model. Facebook has said that their sole mission is, as a business, is not to connect people, but is to make sure as many of people are using it and as much of users' time is consumed by their application, making it addictive. I will also bring your attention to the ACM Code of Ethics. The ACM Code of Ethics, a code created for all programmers, is due to the varying laws over many different countries that a program may be in. And it transcends these barriers to maintain that all programmers remain ethical and their programs remain ethical. In the four imperatives in this code, they detail things such as you must not harm a user and you must not create a program with malicious intent. Facebook is clearly doing this. Furthermore, they have said however, Facebook does not, now I shall summarise the first and second speaker's point and our overall team case. Our first speaker, Ben, spoke to about how Facebook's historical abuse of power and Mark Zuckerberg's dubious and questionable practices. Whilst Facebook began as a small platform, it has now emerged as a social media giant. This power has gone to Mark Zuckerberg's and the Facebook board's head as they utilise Facebook to exploit others for their own economic benefit. Moreover, the fact that Mark Zuckerberg cannot be trusted and takes advantage of people through user agreement cannot be looked over. For a creator of a social media platform to openly and shamelessly trick people through a user agreement is unethical. Furthermore, our second speaker, Alex, spoke to about the Cambridge Analytica scandal and its many implications, and the mental health impacts of Facebook and its usage. Facebook features such as the react buttons take advantage of human nature and open humans up, especially impressionable people, to negative mental effects. Facebook claims to connect us, its users, and to unite us. The foundations of Facebook were formed unethically by Mark Zuckerberg to rate the attractiveness of women. The program that followed, that we know today as the social media platform Facebook, is unethical and used unethically. Why should millions of people trust a dubious man who knowingly and unshamelessly manipulates the vulnerable of people every day? We must unfriend Facebook because, in the words of creator Mark Zuckerberg, I don't know why they trust me. Thank you.
Followed from the third negative speaker, Margaret.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. As of June 2017, a staggering 51% of the world's population had internet access. Facebook itself has reported 2.23 billion monthly active users, roughly 61% of the entire internet population. The positive influence of the digital revolution on our lives is immeasurable, and there is no turning back. The proposed notion to unfriend Facebook is a huge step in the wrong direction, and we as the negative team believe that it is vital we embrace this new era of communication and guarantee that Facebook, its users, and everyone else involved are safely able to take full advantage of the benefits of the internet. Now, the affirmative team have attempted to convince you that the issue of data privacy is reason enough to step away from Facebook. However, we completely disagree. Firstly, I must remind you that for the overwhelming majority, everything that Facebook does with users' data is completely allowed and regulated under Facebook's terms and conditions, and users choose to opt in to this sharing of data. The user can choose not to have this data shared at any time, so it is completely up to them. Secondly, the purpose of this collection of data is so that Facebook can deliver a tailored, more effective ad experience to its users. Studies have shown that people are more likely to engage with an ad and less likely to be annoyed by it if it is within their interests. And so this is a three-way benefit. Facebook is able to generate considerable revenue. Businesses are able to better market their product or brand, and users are shown ads that they are interested in. It is for these reasons that have proven Facebook is as such a successful advertising platform. So why wouldn't they continue with this business model? They have to sustain their business, and they do this through running these personalised ads. The issue regarding the unwanted sharing of users' data to external sources is valid. However, rather than completely unfriend Facebook, we should instead call for better self-regulation from Facebook and legislation by governments to protect users' data. As ultimately, Facebook cannot operate without a substantial user base. So it is clearly in their best interest to retain their users by ensuring we can trust them with our privacy. The first affirmative speaker has argued that Facebook has the ability to influence political outcomes and spread fake news. We disagree with this statement. Facebook aren't writing or sharing the articles. People are. And quitting Facebook wouldn't stop these people from spreading their opinions in newspapers, websites, television, and radio. Bias and the influence of political opinions can occur in almost every media outlet, and nobody can do anything to stop that. Generally, people listen to and feel comfortable with media that they can identify with, which is why right-wing leanings tend to listen to people like Alan Jones or Ray Hadley, whilst left-wing leanings might read The Guardian or Fairfax. And this has always been the case. However, what can be done is to educate users to be more critical of what they read online. stressing the need to fact check and not take things at face value. Conversely, social media actually has the potential to bring about positive political benefits. Investigative media plays a vital role in ensuring governments and politicians are held accountable for their actions. And so if we shut down media services the second they publish a slanderous story, imagine what kind of corruption and actions will never be revealed to the public. The fourth estate, as it's known, functions as an important part of democracy, and Facebook is now very much a part of that. Furthermore, social media played a key role in the Arab Spring Revolution of 2010 in the Middle East, with Facebook used to organise protests and spread awareness. Facebook was called a digital democracy, employed to share news of crimes against humanity by an authoritarian government. The second affirmative speaker has falsely stated that people have become addicted to Facebook. However, this alone is not enough reason for everyone to quit. Things like smoking, gambling, or even video games can also be addictive, but they are still legal and people can still enjoy some of these things in moderation. The government simply cannot ban everything that has the potential to make people addicted, for fear of turning into a nanny state. However, like gambling or drinking, a solution to internet addiction could be to educate on the consequences of using Facebook constantly. And services such as YouTube have already introduced features where users can limit their watch time at their discretion. The onus is on the person using the service, as it should be. The second affirmative speaker brought up the issue of cyberbullying and other issues to users' psychological well-being. However, these issues are a direct result of how the users have actually used Facebook, and not a reflection of Facebook and the platform itself. These issues are not inherent to Facebook. They branch across all forms of social media. And so is the opposition proposing we get rid of all social media due to the potential for these issues to occur? No, because people use Facebook and other social media for their own enjoyment, and so they should be able to do so. The argument that Facebook is at fault when its users do not read the user agreement is ludicrous. When entering into a legal contract, if one party neglects to read the fine print and is then disadvantaged as a result, the fault lies with them. We propose that re-education should be employed to ensure users actually understand what they are doing when they're giving Facebook that access. You can't blame Facebook, or for that matter Mark Zuckerberg, for the neglect of its users to read and agree to these terms and conditions. Facebook do all they can, and as a result of the Cambridge Analytica scandal, the transparency between almost all social media platforms and their users has improved. Tonight, our first speaker, Alana, introduced our team's case by explaining all the evident benefits of Facebook as a platform for communication and marketing. She stressed that people and businesses would see no benefit in leaving Facebook because of the vital tool it has become in this day and age. Our second speaker, Kartik, elaborated on our counter model, suggesting that rather than quitting Facebook, we work to fix the issues, educating to create a more understanding and critical user base and greater clarity between Facebook and its users. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude our team's case and our debate tonight with a quote by the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook was not originally created to be a company. It was built to accomplish a social mission, to make the world more open and connected. Yes, the prevalence of Facebook in our modern lives has acted as a catalyst for some issues to come to light. However, what new groundbreaking technology didn't have its flaws at first? When Bridget Driscoll was the first woman killed in a motor collision in 1896, did we suddenly disregard the idea of cars because of the potential damage they could cause? No, we harnessed that technology and developed it, introduced road rules to regulate safety and security, and educated the public on safe driving methods, with the purpose of introducing this useful technology to the world. And this is exactly what needs to be done with Facebook and the internet in general. We need to ensure users have a greater understanding of how to use Facebook and the consequences of their online actions, so that we can all utilise Facebook's true potential as a 21st century approach to socialising, advertising, and educating. Only then can we truly make the world more open and connected.